Alright, so now that I've finished creating the outline to begin my vocab assignment, I'm going to look at my vocab list, and here are all the words that I'm going to need to look at. A couple things to know about this. Number one is that these words all come in order in the book. And so, for example, if I'm looking for material culture and I've just finished up secondary source, then if I'm reading through the material and I can't find material culture and I end up at artifacts and I find this word, then I know I've gone too far and I should go back because they go in order in the book. So here's my list of vocab words. Notice that there are 8 here. Okay, and so here's my vocab that I was working on, and I've got that. So what I want to do is I'm going to write down the first word over here on the left hand side. The word is myth. And notice that there are 2 bullets here. So I'm going to have my first bullet over here on the right hand side, and it says to define. And so what I want to do when I define these words, when it says define, that I echo or include the word in my definition. So I don't just write the definition, but I include it in there. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to start reading through my information here. And as I read through, I'm going to probably run into the word myth. And as I read, I keep reading, oh, myths and legends. Okay, it's probably going to be in here. Historians often look for evidence about the distant past in myths and legends. Okay, so here it comes. These were stories passed down through time, often before people had writing. Many myths are a mix of fact and fiction. So here's where my definition is. If I notice out here also, there's also a definition for it out here in something called a vocabulary builder. So I've got that. So what I want to do is I want to start my sentence off with or include the word myth in there. So a myth is a story, I'm getting it right from here, a story passed down through time, a story through time. So a story passed down through time, often before people had writing. Many myths are a mix of fact and fiction, which is a mix of fact and fiction. Okay, great. I'm done. I've included the word in there. I've got my definition. But now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at my vocab sheet, and it says, oh, I have a second bullet here. So I'm going to put my second bullet here, and it says, explain the myth about how Rome got its name. Once again, I need to echo, otherwise I'm not going to know what the question was. And so I need to say something about the myth about how Rome got its name. Name, and then I'm going to keep reading here, and as I go down in order, it says myths surround the early history of Rome. According to legend, twins named Romulus and Remus founded Rome. Oh, okay. So here's the myth about how Rome got its name. So I'm going to read through this, and I'm going to continue and write up, because my vocab list here said, explain the myth about how Rome got its name. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to summarize that here. Began with twin boys, Romulus and Remus. I would read on, I'd go on about how they killed, they were abandoned at birth, and how they built this city, and then they fought over who was going to be in charge of it, and then one killed the other, and that's how, and then the other named it after themselves, and that's how it got its name. So I'd write that up here. Then I can look back at my list and go, okay, I've done the 2 bullets, great. Now I'm ready for the next one, primary source. So I'm going to skip a line in between here, and I'm going to go number 2, primary source. And then for primary source, 1, 2, 3. So I've got bullets here. It says to define it, so I'm going to keep reading. Written records. Oh, here's primary sources, a record that was created at or near the time of an event. Once again, I need to, a primary source is, and then I need to make sure I've included that word in there, or I'm echoing in there, and I would complete that. Then I would do my next bullet. Then I would do my next bullet, all the while echoing, and just continue that process over and over until I get down and finished with number 8. And that's how you're going to complete the vocab.